Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Bragy and Curly.
My favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly.
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to episode 91 of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast. Now, unfiltered discussions, as always, and we try and work through undiscovered music. Now, last week, another great episode. We did have a couple of sync issues, so people may have noticed that in Simon's video, it was like a foreign movie that was being dubbed at times, unfortunately. So, which is a little bit of a shame. But, gentlemen, I haven't shown you this. I found out something about our guest last week that I did not know. So just bear with me.
This is our carryover champion, Simon Fallon from Alexandra Hills, Queensland. With a win tonight, Simon will take home all the prizes, the Alfa Romeo 156 speed and the cash jackpot. A grand total of $421,448.
Come on, how'd he go?
Tonight on the world's richest quiz, we're offering a $10,000 blood and guts. Simon, pattern? Correct. Biblically, just before Jesus' death, he wore a crown of what? Simon. Thorns? Yes, beginning with Q is which musical note equal to half? Simon, you've won the game, you've won the money, you've won the lot. Congratulations. Well played. Oh, congratulations. Well done. And what an amazing start to the year. We had so early in the piece a camp. He's joined us on the first night, as I say, and he's come through and he's taken the Alpha and the money. And also, very importantly, he goes into super sale tomorrow night with Tom Becky's back in his stage already, I reckon.
So Simon was a champion on Sale of the Century. Won the lot.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
$421,2001 made. No wonder he had some good guitars.
Fuck yeah. Jesus.
Wow. That's incredible. That is impressive.
And he kept that a secret from me. And I was just doing a quick search after I'd uploaded the video just to see what it would come up as. And there's Simon Fallon, the state of Sale of the Century champion.
Wow.
There are no secrets in the digital age.
Absolutely not.
What year was that?
I wonder if
it's around the time Dave Graney was on there.
Now, that would have been an incredible coincidence, wouldn't it?
Would have been, yeah.
Yeah. So tonight we've got an episode that is going to feature our co-host down there, Tate Bragg in Adelaide. But before I do, just sharing a little bit of news. We've got a couple more shows coming up in the coming weeks around the 5 Songs of Meaning. I caught up with our country music correspondent.
Yes.
And he has accepted the challenge. So he's going to do an executive summary of the Golden Guitars from Tamworth. Tamworth. And the other big news, I guess, is that the Hottest 100, not the Triple J version, the Gabs Beer Fest version, actually had the Green Devil, the Green Demon, Cooper's in the top 10. Cooper's Pale Ale made the top 10.
Yes.
And the number one beer was a beer from Katoomba in New South Wales.
Yes.
Very first entry in the top 100 called Mountain Culture Status Quo Pale Ale.
Nice.
And I caught up with the country music correspondent. We had a couple of Mountain Culture Status Quo Pale Ale, and I'm here to say it is not a bad beer.
Excellent.
And considering it's coming out of New South Wales, well, you know.
you know, Queenslanders only, they call it 4X because they can't spell beer.
That's it.
Absolutely. We've heard that one so many times. Boulder XPA, which is what I've got in my hand tonight, came in second. And a brewery from Canberra, Ben Spoke, and their beautiful drop called Crankshaft IPA was on the podium as well. So,
well, there you go. But Paley's, the Coopers always makes it though.
Yeah,
always makes the top 10.
So this is their first time for a long time in the top 10. So it's good to see the return of an old favourite.
Oh,
so they're always in the.
I thought that
Yeah,
always made
always
it
in there.
all the sparkling, usually.
Yeah,
The red one, you know?
Awesome to hear. Now,
The field must have opened up pretty big in the last few years, though. The amount of micro breweries around Sydney is just incredible.
it is. And smart brewers like Mountain Culture, what was really impressive about them is that they actually had the QR code on the can. So everyone that was buying the beer, you didn't have to go far to vote. You just scan the QR code. So they're getting really clever, and I guess it's all about marketing. But
Viral marketing.
The Status Quo Pale Ale, ladies and gentlemen, go out and test her out. She's a very nice drop. Now, I caught up with the country music correspondent after we cooked a barbecue on Sunday for our kids down in the steaming hot at Bunnings at Cannon Hill. And we were doing our bit. We volunteered for that particular.
And there were photos of that. I'm sure you'll put them in.
No. So there's not the most attractive things, but in saying that, Rossi last week shared the Australian Road Crew Association desk tapes, and I'm going to put a link in the show notes to that because I was having a bit of a Bo Peep today. Models, V-Spy, Jimmy and the Boys, Crowded House, both the Finn Brothers, TMG, Ted Mulry Gang from 1982.
And what a rock band they were then. Wow.
Yeah.
So many great live desk tapes. So check it out. It's I'll put the link in, and of course it helps roadies, and it's a great cause. So
yeah,
cool.
All of those are live gig tapes that they're recorded by the front of house guy, and they've all been authorized by the performers and cleared through the appropriate channels. And some of them just sound so stellar. They really do.
I've got to agree. The ones I listened to today are just clean, very clean. So
we've got to do a show on that, surely.
Well, that's where potentially our battle of the bootlegs might go. We might choose two bootlegs out of that. Yeah. So, well, there's the Bushwhacker band in there, the Red Gums in there.
Goanna as well. There's a Goanna gig. It was great, actually. Yeah.
And just let us know about this idea, those that are listening. We're looking to potentially go into a little bit of an educational series called the 101 series. You know, we did a social media show, Braggy, if you remember, way back in the early days where we had, I think her name was Candace. I
remember. Yep.
And shared for musos, how to use social media, you know, and just an idea that's popped into their head, you know, Roadie 101, Stagecraft 101, King of Pop 101, that sort of thing. So maybe a little bit of education just to help some of the up and coming. So I'm sure we've got the celebrity roadie there that could probably draft up a show around Roadie 101. What makes a good roadie? What makes a not so good roadie?
What makes other roadies cranky when they see it happening?
Yeah.
So if you think that's a good idea, let us know. So we'd love to put
how to have a gaff fight at the end of the night. Roll up the gaff. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I do.
All right, so I'm going to hand this. This is a Braggy show. He came up with this concept, and I'll let you talk through it. He's come up with some great concepts, by the way. So
I'm good when I'm under pressure, Curly. You spring it on me. We need a show. Look, I thought what we talk about tonight is how a song evolves, like the evolution of a song, as in a song's written and someone else covers it and someone hears that and someone else covers it and someone else covers it, and it goes on and on and on down the list. And it works really well with songs that kind of don't have any copyright anymore, which I think this one doesn't. I could be wrong. And the song we're going to do tonight, we're going to go through a song called Baby Please Don't Go. Everyone must have heard some version of that, you would think.
Absolutely, yeah.
You guys, got some favourites?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it goes... Go, Curly.
Interesting. When you sent it through, Baby Please Don't Go, you know, the first thought that went into my head was, you know, that band song by The Promises called Baby It's You.
It's you.
And I'm thinking to myself, why would he want to do that song? I didn't know there were that many versions of it. And then when I was setting up for the show, I thought, no, I got it wrong again. Curly
Wasn't
gets
that
it wrong
wasn't
a little
that
bit.
band from the Netherlands who did "Baby It's You Promises"? I think it might have been.
Maybe.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Once again, just another song that the chorus just kicks in. So,
The
Yeah.
clip was very popular with young men at the time, I believe.
yeah, I've got no idea why.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, she had a good voice. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Great singer, great singer.
Good
Big
lungs.
Yeah.
Okay. Now listen, this song, Baby Please Don't Go, it goes way, way back. It's actually, the first person to actually record it was a guy called Big Joe Williams, who was a Mississippi bluesman. And no one's really sure where it came from, but most sources say that there was a song called Long John, which was a song the slaves used to sing in the 19th century when they were on the chain gang. And it was kind of adapted from that. And when we get into it, you'll hear the words of the song. He's singing about being away on the chain gang and what his woman's getting up to back home. So that's what the Baby Please Don't Go is. Don't leave him while he's in jail or on the chain gang. Okay. So this is the earliest recording. It's 1937. I'm not sure if this is the 37 recording because he recorded it a few times, but this is Big Joe Williams. And this is interesting too, Rossi, for you being a guitar man. He's using a 9-string guitar. So I think that's like a 12-string with 3 strings missing.
I think it might be.
Or it could be a 6-string with 3 strings added. So.
No, I think if you
I've
listen
played a
to
fair
it,
few 11 strings.
Yeah. And Keith plays a 5 sometimes, but I just want you to listen to this. So this is just him. This is like all those old Mississippi blues guys. It's just him and the guitar, and that's how this song starts.
Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go back to New Orleans. You know I love you so. Turn your lamp down low. Turn your lamp down low. Turn your lamp down low. I beg you all night long, baby. She got me way down here. She got me way down here. She got me way down here by the rolling fork. She treat me like a dog. Look at here. Play the while I think you know how to do it. For I be your dog, for I be your dog, for I be your dog, get you way down here, I'll make you walk the dog, baby. Baby, please don't go, baby, please don't go, baby, please don't go back to your Orleans, you know I love you so.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's smoking.
That is, isn't it? And so he's like now for people who maybe that watch it that aren't maybe that far into their music, that's a 12-bar blues. But because he's an old black blues guy, some of them sometimes there's only 11 bars. Sometimes there's 13.
Yeah.
So
it's all on the feel.
It's all on the feel, isn't it? And you can just see. I mean, whenever I hear stuff like that, I just, I've never been there, but I just picture a porch with the swamps out the back and the flies and and gumbo cooking somewhere. So
See that stuff like that. Yeah, that the quality of that recording is stellar, especially for the period at which it was recorded. Like it's just
So maybe recorded on wax or something, wouldn't it? Those old
Yeah,
ones, maybe.
yeah. See, there was that early period of time where the US Archive was going around capturing all those blues singers, as you know, like Lead Belly and Robert Johnson, all those guys were captured by the US government. I'm not sure if that was one of them. But that performance there, man, he's a big man, and he's making that guitar work too, right?
He is. He's
digging in.
Yeah, that guitar's got a high action, I reckon, and he's just he's punching it. Yeah, I got a bit of show and tell as well. So he also wrote a song called "Crawling King Snake," which the Doors kind of did a cover of. I've got the Big Joe Williams album here.
Oh yeah!
Oh wow!
And
nice.
On the back, track 5 is "Please Don't Go." So that's on there. So he travelled around the Mississippi, and obviously in them days where there wasn't much recording, you know, the other blues guys would hear it and they'd play it as well. You know, people would pick it up. And so I think, Curly, you've got a little one there of Lightning Hopkins, who's another guy a little bit later on, and you'll notice here he's refined it a bit more, and his guitar playing's a bit better as well.
This is all oral history for them, you know?
That's right. It's passed it down. That's why the words change, because people hear it differently. It's like Chinese whispers, you know?
Yeah.
Baby, please don't go. Now, baby, please don't go. Now, baby, please don't go back to New Orleans. You know I love you so, baby, please. I'll be a man and gone. I'll be a man and gone. He left the county for me, had his shackles on. Now, baby, please. Now, don't you call my name. Now don't you call my name.
Very subtly different.
You got me where?
Yeah.
Very percussive. Like it's very, again, digging in hard.
Yeah, that's it.
Lightning. Sorry, you go ahead.
As we go through these and we get further and further into the 20th century, it all becomes more percussive and a little bit faster, a little bit, yeah.
So Lightning's a Texan guy, right? And he was very much like, he's the idol of guys like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yes, yeah.
You can hear it. And like, how big are his hands? Like, whoa. No, that guitar looks like a...
Yeah, they're all big guys, eh? They're all big guys.
Yeah.
So I guess...
Looks like a ukulele in his hands.
It does. Yeah.
So can I ask a really dumb question here?
Yep.
So is anyone credited with actually writing the song?
I think Big Joe Williams is the credit, although it's really funny on the when we get to AC/DC, on the back of their album, it's credited to Big Bill Brunsey. But I can't find. I've got a Big Bill Brunsey, a couple of these records. I can't find anywhere where he actually recorded it. So maybe they got it wrong, and it was Big Joe Williams, not Big. And once when asked, Big Joe Williams said that it was his wife that wrote the words. So. No one kind of knows. It goes back too far. So what happened was Big Joe Williams toured around, and on one of the tours around the Mississippi, he ran into a young fellow who was only 15 at the time, and you know what his name was? His name was Muddy Waters, right?
Hey, yep.
And I got a little quote here from when he met Muddy Waters. It's from Big Joe Williams. It's funny. He says, during the early 1930s, Williams was accompanied on his travels through the Mississippi Delta by a young Muddy Waters. He says, I picked Muddy up in Rolling Fork, when he was 15. Now, Rolling Fork, that sounds like a great town. I picked him
I
up.
want to go there.
I picked him up in Rolling Fork when he was 15. He went all around the Delta playing harmonica behind me, but I had to put him down after a while. All these women were coming up to me and saying, "Oh, your young son, he's so nice." See, I had to put Buddy down because he was taking away my women. So,
they never change, do they?
No. Hey, now, Curly, though, before you play this one, I want to do another one before this one because Muddy doesn't record his till 53, right? But in 52, so we're still talking. It's almost still kind of pre-rock and roll. It's pre-Elvis. 52, but some of the pre things to rock and roll were the vocal groups like the Ink Spots and those sort of bands. They were
Brothers.
And then there was all these bird bands like there was the Penguins, the Crows, the Flamingos, and then there was the Orioles, which is what we're going to play next. And these guys got a complete. Don't have it? Sorry, Curly. I did send it to you.
Talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I remember when Muddy Waters came out to Australia in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
He's landed and he's flown out economy. And
Wow.
They get off the plane in the old days and they just sit and they've got a press conference. How do you like Australia or all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
He's been here 15 seconds. How do you like Australia? They said to him, Mr. Waters, surely by now you're successful enough that you don't have to travel economy on the plane. He looks at me and he goes, well, the back half of the plane gets here at the same time as the front half of the plane. Those southern boys don't waste money, mate. They don't waste their money.
Now, this is taking it in a whole other direction. Here.
Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Oh, baby, please don't go back to New Orleans. I love you so. You brought me way down here. 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 Left me on the farm. And do you know how? So never leave me, baby. Please don't go. Oh, never leave me, baby. Please don't go. Oh, never leave me, baby. Please don't go. Don't go, don't go, don't go, don't go.
Yeah, not my favourite version.
Wow, that is such a contrast.
Yeah, and the song could have been
direction.
lost, because I don't think that was a hit. So yeah, go on.
But it's the direction pop music was going at the time, right? They were kind of, homogenizing it and cleaning it up for mass consumption, all that sort of stuff. Around like Sun Records were, doing a bit of race records, a little bit of White Boy, a little bit of all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
Never know where the hits were going to come from,
Yeah, that's right. Everyone was just making it up as they went along. No one knew what was happening. And then Muddy Waters comes along the very next year and records it, and he's in Chicago, and this is like early Chicago blues. He's got a killer band.
Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go down to New Orleans. You know I love you so. Before I be your dog, before I be your dog. Before I be your dog, I get you way down here and I make you walk. Turn your lamp down low. Turn your lamp down low. Turn your lamp down low and I beg you all night long.
There is just a style about them, isn't it? There is seriously just a style, and that's groovy.
That's Sunday afternoon with a whiskey, Curly, isn't it?
With a
or Friday
Bolter
night with a whiskey,
XPA or a Mountain
Bolter
Culture
XPA.
Status Quo Pale Ale, mate.
Now,
so that song's migrated all the way up north by now.
Yeah, so we're up to Chicago. We're up to Chicago, and
that Chicago blues, you know.
That's it. And Muddy Waters, he makes that song his own, and then it's really interesting. He makes a very famous album. It's this one here, Muddy Waters at Newport Festival, and he plays this. He plays it on this album. It's a live album, and at the same time, around the early '60s, over in England, all these young white guys are importing records of all these old blues guys. No one's listening to them in America. They're still listening to the doo-wop, and this time Elvis is, the white guys are going, no one's listening to these old black guys. And a young guy by the name of Van Morrison, who's in a band called Them, hears this record and he says he thought it had more soul than any other recording he's ever heard. And so they record it, and this is their version, which is a great version, I think.
Or here they are, anyhow they are them.
You're coming on from this side,
So baby, please don't go. Baby, your mind done gone. Well, your mind done gone. Well, your mind done gone. Left the county for me, and the shackles on. Baby, please don't go. For be a dog. For be a dog. For be a dog to get you way down here. I make you walk along. Baby, please don't go.
Tell the difference, can't you?
Oh yeah. Well, it's not swung anymore. They've stopped. They're not swinging that like Muddy was swinging his. That's just almost 2/4.
That almost sounds to me like if Rocky Erickson did a cover.
So and isn't it? Don't you think it amazes me about that part of that history of rock and roll where. The only other people listening to that, people in America, it's just black people at black clubs listening to that stuff.
That's
Yet,
right.
on the other side of the Atlantic, it's all these white kids that are just like, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
So,
well, that's why Hendrix went over there. They didn't care two bits about him. He went to London. They're like going, look at him.
Yeah. So they saved rock and roll. Those young English white kids like Van Morrison and John Lennon and Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. So
yeah, they did, and they helped to elevate and preserve that big part of American culture.
Yeah, and they made some money for those guys too. Those guys were on the bones of their ass.
Yeah.
Muddy Waters and all those John Lee Hooker, all them guys.
The deals all those guys got signed to were just unconscionable. That's why guys. That's why guys like Chuck Berry. People talk about Chuck Berry and he goes on. He does like 45 minutes and walks off mid song, and people get cranky at him for doing it because. You contracted me for 45 minutes. I'll give you 45 minutes. And then the moment 45 minutes is off, I'm going.
Yeah.
If you wanted me to play longer, give me more money. And that's what they had to do because they weren't respected.
They were ripped off most of the time too.
Absolutely.
Most of the producers put their name on the writing and on the credits and got the money. So
yeah. Well, a lot of those songs, like this one in particular, they'd normally have like traditional arrangement by...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Big Bill. Yeah. Traditional arrangement by so and so.
Yeah,
but still, like
now
if there's not enough of those guys playing heart and soul into the production and the arrangement of that song, that's enough composition for mine.
Exactly. One other interesting fact about that recording. So Gloria was on the B side of that single. So it's not a bad double single.
No,
please don't go.
I'd love
Gloria
to
on the other.
I
don't have a copy. I don't have a copy of that, unfortunately. But when they did the session, then it was 1964, and the drummer and the guitar player weren't that flash of musos, and so as what happened a lot there, the producer got in a session drummer and a session guitarist, and that session guitarist they got in to play on that track just happened to be a young Jimmy Page. So.
Yeah. He played on like 80 to 90% of English hits over that period.
Yeah. So
and John Paul Jones as well. They just played all those guys. Yeah. That's a whole other story, that, isn't it?
That is. Yeah. We could go down that rabbit hole if we wanted to. Yeah.
But I suspect I would be really happy if I owned both those guitars. I could retire with sort of like Sale of the Century money if I owned both those guitars.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Now, across the other side of the world, there's some young immigrants from England who got a band together down here from their brothers called AC/DC. Now, I saw AC/DC live, but only in the latter years. I would have loved to have seen them in the early days. I can remember my brother's 8 years older than me, Jimmy Railmotor. And he did college in Melbourne, and he used to go and see, I forget what the pub was, but the AC/DC would play in the front bar. Renee Gayer sometimes was the support. The pub was so small, Angus would go to the bar afterwards to get his milk or whatever he drank because he was a teetotaler, and he'd still have his guitar plugged into his amp on stage, the big curly lead. That's how small the pub was. And he brought me home this record. I remember he brought me home this record. And the first song...
It's got the...
What? Blue Ruth?
Has it got the blue label? Blue Roo? It's a Blue Roo?
That's a red one.
Okay, good. The Blue Roo, very expensive.
Yeah, I've got some of the other ones. I've got Jailbreak on the blue, but not that one, unfortunately. So, apparently they used to finish with this song in their live shows. And I'm going to see a clip now. It's probably get blocked.
All right. How good was that?
They were just made for Countdown, weren't they, AC/DC?
Weren't they? What?
That's just after they're transitioning out of their glam era. When they swapped over singers and stuff. Dave Evans before, they were a glam band. They had all these weird costume stuff. Yeah. Malcolm still got a little bit of the vestige on it, you know?
Yeah.
A mate of mine was playing me. A mate of mine reminded me of a song earlier in the week called Midnight Moses by the sensational Alex Harvey Band. And I became obsessed. I listened to it over and over again. And Bon Scott owes so much to Alex Harvey, another fellow Glaswegian. You listen to the vocal, you listen to the styling and the striped shirt and everything. Yeah. It was like, wow. Wow.
I mean, that is the best vocal out of all the ones we've played so far.
His vocals. See, but Angus is a Muddy Waters fan. He's a Chuck Berry fan. He loves all that trad blues. That's heartfelt for him. All that stuff.
Yeah, they're true rock and roll bands.
They are absolutely.
There's a famous. You probably know it, Ross. There's a famous clip. And it's when AC/DC had finally started to crack it big, and they went on this big Monsters of Rock tour, and it was them and Van Halen, were the kind of the two big acts, and they take it in turns, And someone's asking Angus, is there a bit of rivalry between you and Van Halen? And Angus says, not really. They're more of a pop band. It's the best comeback ever.
They are so. They're not affected by anyone else around them,
No.
They're just they know what they are. They're exactly what they are, and they're just so dry. They're fantastic. I love them. I love them.
I love them too. And they came up with that. Just amazing. So that's kind of the evolution. And then I've got one more there that we can play if you want, which is Aerosmith. Only because I like this version. And that's it's like more of a hair. They're kind of one of the early hair bands, weren't they, Rossi? I know they're kind of bluesy like the Stones, but
Yeah, no, they were, but then they weren't. Like their resurgence after they came out of rehab, they became a hair metal band.
Yeah, okay.
Desmond Child wrote some stuff for them,
After they snorted everything away up their nose.
Oh yeah, boy did they.
This is 2004, by the way.
Yeah,
that's rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, that's pretty polished, pretty intense version of that.
Yeah, there we go. Well, that's it.
That is so vastly different from
where we started.
Big Joe Williams. Yeah.
There's one other clip
for the Rabbitohs.
There's one other clip that you should not play now, but I don't know if you play it at the end, or people should tune into, and it's Muddy Waters playing at the, I want to say it's the Checkerboard. It's a blues bar somewhere in America.
At the Checkerboard Lounge.
Yeah, and the Stones walk in, and they got a table at the front, and it's kind of staged, but it's kind of not staged. I'm not sure, but it's like early 80s Stones, so Keith still, I think, a little bit out of it. And the bar staff just come in and start bringing bottles of Jack, and eventually he gets them up to play with him. And it's just fucking so rock and roll. I love it.
Yeah. The Aerosmith, that Aerosmith version of that is, peak MTV for him, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That was an album they did called, Honkin' on Bobo, which is like all just blues covers. I've got one final thing, Curly, that says I've got
go for it.
Couple of quotes of the people on the song. It's one of the most played, arranged, and rearranged pieces in blues history. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame included Big Joe Williams' rendition in its list of 500 songs that shaped rock and roll.
That's fair.
Yeah, it was certainly a journey that you took us on, Bragg. So thank you for that.
No worries. Enjoy
it. But the song is the song. The song's the important thing, isn't it?
It is. And it's kind of not really changed that much.
Totally recognisable all the way through.
Yeah. The interesting part
Orioles not so much.
Yeah, the interesting thing I find is the meanings kind of change. Like it's originally about, the guy's gone, he's away and he's worried about his woman back home. But when it goes down the line, eventually it's like she's gone somewhere and he's at home. My baby's gone. So it's kind of been switched around a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will make sure I've got all the links to those YouTube videos in the show notes as always. So, and I'll try and do a bit of a condensed version of that Muddy Waters and Rolling Stone to play at the end.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's an interesting clip to watch. Yeah.
Very much so. So where we can, we'll add some of those songs to the playlist on Spotify, our Unfiltered and Undiscovered playlist. Which is now sitting around 9 hours worth of music. So if ever you're in for a boring workday, put on the Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast playlist. So great episode. Thanks, Braggy. You took me for a bit of a journey, and it was great just to sit back and listen to you guys. So I understand what our listeners get out of our show, and sometimes it's not the dumb things that I say, but it's the smart and intelligent wisdom from you two. So I thank you for that.
It's the punt. It's what the punter says that counts, mate. Otherwise,
it's no work for anyone. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what we think.
That's right. That's right.
No, it's a really interesting exercise to see that. Yeah, it really is.
Maybe we can do another one of those down the track somewhere if we're stuck.
Yeah, maybe it's you or something. So
can only see two reasons for that.
Oh dear. Look, I'm sure a song will pop up that would be absolutely appropriate.
Yeah. So when it does, let's look into it. So thank you so much. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, leave a review wherever you've done that, whether it's on YouTube or any of the audio platforms that the podcast features on. We've got our YouTube channel. Of course, we're on Facebook, TikTok. We've got a website, Unfiltered and Undiscovered.com. And as I told you before, we've got our playlist on on Spotify. Wherever we play some music, we try and add it to that playlist. So please go back and enjoy it. And in the words of the amazing Gordon Gano from the Violent Femmes, big hands, I know you're the one. So thank you so much for popping in and tuning in, and we shall see you all again next week. See you, Braggy. See you, Rossi.
Ciao.
Ladies and gentlemen, this time of evening, things have got rails where it's supposed to be. I'm not going to call until I get a little drink with that. Take your time, don't rush it. Baby, please don't go. Oh, baby, please don't go. Oh, baby, please don't go down to New Orleans. You know I love you so. Before I be your dog, before I be your dog, before I be your dog, I get you way down here and I make you walk your dog. Turn your lamp down low. Turn your lamp down low. Turn your lamp down low and I beg you all night long, baby, please. Mick Jagger, Let's bring Miss Jacket up here. Miss Jacket. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go down to New Orleans. You know I love you so. Before I be your dog. Before I be your dog. Before I be your dog, I get you way down here and I make you walk the dog. Here we gonna bring Mick Jacket. Mick Jacket. Why don't you sing a couple of verses?
Baby, please don't go down to New Orleans because I love you so. Before I be your dog, before I be your dog, before I be your dog, I want you way down here where the road. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go down to New Orleans because I love you so.
You brought me way down here. You brought me way down here. You brought me way down here about rolling folk. You treat me like I'm a dog. What about Keith?
Yeah, what about Keith?
What about Keith? Way down here about rolling folk and treat the last one hell. You know your man done gone.
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 You know your man done gone down to the county for me. Got it. Oh, baby, please don't go.
Please don't go.
Oh, baby, please don't go.
Please don't go.
Oh, baby, please don't go down to New Orleans. And I love you so. Look out, Keith.
Search from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Bragy and Curly.
My favorite fans from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered podcast.